He and his staff rewrote the US manual on counterinsurgency, and until this month, General Petraeus commanded all US forces throughout the Middle East. But here, his enemy is entrenched. Last month was the deadliest since this war began 9 years ago, with over 100 coalition troops killed. The Taliban have exploited public resentment at government corruption. They've intimidated local officials and made some areas ungovernable. Changing this won't be easy.
In this type of unconventional warfare, things cannot change as in a conventional battle in one day. So whatever is required, now the resources are there too. So I think there will be a requirement of patience and part of everybody.
But training up Afghanistan's mostly illiterate army is a slow, painstaking business. Petraeus is said to want them to take a more active role in the campaign. He knows he'll need to show progress to his president in time for a big strategic review, now just 5 months away. General Petraeus' first week on the job here in Afghanistan has been greeted with some relief on coalition bases like this one. Because if anyone was going to take over at this difficult time, then he's the one man with a proven track record of being able to turn around a faltering campaign. Frank Gardner, BBC News, Kandahar.
Union leaders have accused the Treasury of scaremongering after it revealed government departments were drawing up plans for cuts of up to 40%. Today, the Transport Secretary, Philip Hammond, said he didn't expect cuts of that magnitude, but warned spending on major projects would be affected. Our political correspondent, Gary O'Donoghue, reports.
Who'll be the winners and who'll be the losers in this summer's great public spending game? A game whose stakes couldn't be higher, the outcome of which will affect us all. Big projects like new high-speed rail links could be vulnerable, and the transport budget looks set to take a significant hit. Overall, transport spends £15.9 billion a year. £7.3 billion goes on road and rail, and £5.9 billion goes on local authority transport spending in England and the Transport for London budget.
We're going to have to prioritise aggressively, do the things which deliver the most value, which deliver the most support to economic growth, because that's one of the key challenges of the next few years.
Much of the budget departments, such as the Home Office, spends on policing means real jobs. Ministers have been silent on any guarantees about the numbers of officers there'll be after the process is over. The Home Office spends almost £10 billion a year. £6 billion of that goes on policing in England and Wales. A further £1.6 billion goes on border controls.
The idea that you can cut the budget in the Home Office by 25%, 33% according to the Institute for Fiscal Studies, 40% we're seeing in this morning's story in the Sunday Telegraph, that you can do that to a budget of £10 billion, by the way, not £110 billion, which is the health service budget, and you won't affect frontline policing is fantasy land.
Ministers have said openly that no department will actually have to cut its budget by 40%. So why are they asking departments to set out plans to do just that? Managing our expectations is one answer given by the government's critics, so that when the cuts come in lower than expected, everyone will be able to breathe a small sigh of relief.
No ifs, no buts.
But it's clear that talk of cuts is already worrying the public and bringing union leaders out with fighting talk.
What we've seen in the last 24 hours is scandalous. It's leaking scare stories that not only are worrying millions of public sector workers, but are also worrying those people who depend on our vital services.
Manoeuvring for advantage is just beginning in this game that will last until October, though no one really expects to be a real winner once it's all over. Gary O'Donoghue, BBC News.
Only 18 teachers have been struck off for incompetence in the UK over the past 40 years, researchers revealed. The BBC's Panorama programme has uncovered evidence that instead of being removed from the register, as many as 15,000 incompetent teachers have been allowed to resign and go on to work at other schools. The world tennis #1 Rafael Nadal has won his second Wimbledon title. The Spaniard beat Thomas Berdych of the Czech Republic in straight sets. It took him just 2¼ hours to win his 8th Grand Slam. Our sports correspondent Kevin Geary reports from Wimbledon.
The bubbly may still be on ice for a British winner after Andy Murray's exit, but such is the fans' rapport with the man who beat him, Rafael Nadal, that he'd still prove a mightily popular winner. He was a heavily odds-on favourite against 12th seed Thomas Berdych and didn't disappoint. The Czech, though, wasn't overawed and showed initially that he had the shots that could potentially cause problems. But Nadal knows just when to turn up his awesome power at the business end of the set, and when he did so, it was unanswerable. The second set followed a similar template, Berdych searching for a way back and occasionally hinting he might find one, but his susceptibility to error undermined him, to the disappointment of some who wanted a closer contest. He probably doesn't think much of your back catalogue either, Sir Cliff. The set went the same way as the first, as Nadal again turned the screw. Despite a change of tactics in the third, further frustration was Berdych's only reward. The dust from the turf might just as well have been his hopes. But then, what hope would anyone have had against a man whose speed, agility and racket control can produce this? Nadal's second Wimbledon title was fittingly secured with one last dash of panache.
Well, just more than a dream for me, you know. It always was my dream playing this court, and today play the fourth final was amazing for me after a difficult year. Last year I can't be here, but this year I came back and, you know, be here and have this trophy in my hands is just more than a dream.
So Rafael Nadal reigns supreme here, undeniably the best tennis player in the world. And what's dispiriting for all his rivals, including Britain's Andy Murray, he's still only 24, so plenty more titles to come. Kevin Geary, BBC News, Wimbledon.
Well, that's it for now. I'll be back with more from the newsroom at 10 o'clock. Now on BBC One, it's time to join our news teams where you are this evening. Bye-bye.